I'm jumping on here today to talk about the new moon, the energy that's surrounding us, and what is kind of to be expected over the next 2 weeks, the period between the new moon and the full moon. And our new moon, it's in Scorpio. The significance of our new moon is the ending of the previous moon cycle and the beginning of the next moon cycle. So this is really symbolic in our own lives as we move forwards at this time, honoring the ending of one cycle and the new beginning of the next. A lot of times we forget that feeling of completion, like we're done, we finished something, and we always leave to-do list, things that we need to get done, we should do. They're always running and they're constant. And if we don't finish something one day, we leave it for the next day and the next day and the next day. So I love the energy of the new moon because it's really releasing what we were doing and inviting what we are doing. So it's that feeling of completion and moving forwards. So the energy of Scorpio is a water sign. Let's say that. It's a water sign. So it's going to be an emotional time. I feel like November is always the beginning of the introverted season as we move towards winter. We move away from summer and through fall. So as November hits, especially here in the northern part of the northeastern part of the United States, the winter kind of comes in with a vengeance in November. And it may even soften through December, but it really takes a hard dive towards winter. So the energy, that introspective and slow down energy is definitely there. But as we do this, I feel that we connect to our emotions a lot more. The emotions are a lot more apparent. We have to sit with them and we have to be with them, which is hard for a lot of us to just be present with what we're feeling, what's going on, and what we're doing. So make sure that we don't get too wrapped up with this Scorpio energy. There's a lot of good things, and we'll move right into that. There's a lot of great things, but be careful not to be too wrapped up in those emotions and to be so introspective that you almost gain a distrust or a distance from other people and really just, more so retreat. And that's not always a bad thing, but there is a level where it goes too far and we're now severing our ties or cutting ourselves off from that interaction with other people and things and situations, going out, all those kinds of things. And right now we're all suffering this, kind of, I would say together anyways, this more so segregated lifestyles. And, just keep in mind that there are lots of ways to connect with people and to exercise your trust and practice trust in the universe and people, all of those kinds of things. So the energy of Scorpio is very resourceful. And I feel like that warrior goddess energy, bravery, power, those types of things, excessive passion, like just being very passionate. All of that energy is going to be sitting with us during this introspective season and during this new moon, which is a wonderful time to embrace the shadow of ourselves. And the shadow of ourselves are the not so apparent things, not the face value. It's the deep-seated or the pushed down or the ignored aspects of ourselves. So having this passion and resourcefulness and all these wonderful energies that are also going to be pressing, holding us up, it's just a very great energy to have with us. Again, as we move towards this wintry type energy, again, the cold and introspection and all of those types of things, having our passion and power and resourcefulness is going to be very key to creating balance and security in our lives. It's time to renew and reinforce. So I believe in November every year, I believe it's a great time to reestablish and refine yourself. So it could be looking at your vision board if you made one at the beginning of the year, especially because things start to get crazy. You know, how many events have we had even in the last, you know, short little while? We've had, you know, major, you know, I don't want to say conflicts, but we've had major issues with the current pandemic. We've had the election here in the United States. Like, we've had all these things going on, and we've gotten drawn away from our intention and what it is that we set out to do this year, and who it is that we were trying to become, and who we were going to be. And we just got so pulled away from it. And November is always a great time, especially mid-November is a wonderful time to just reestablish your goals. You know, how do you want to finish this year? How do you want to finish this year strongly? And, you know, in a lot of various different belief systems, this is the ending of the year, in the beginning of a new year. Just depends on like what calendar you're using, all those kinds of things. But I do feel like the energy is always with us, especially with this new moon. So renew and reinforce. Renew your commitments to yourself. Renew or reinforce your habits or your lifestyle, or whatever it is that you really want to carry with you moving forwards. Take the time in this shadow side of the moon, really take the time to sit with those things and make those agreements in your own mind to take them with you as you move forwards. Look for raw truths. So whenever things come up for you, really look for those raw truths in yourself. And you want to have facts moving forwards. We get emotionally entangled with things. A lot of times we convince ourselves that things are factual when they're not, and things are truthful whenever they're not. And it keeps us off of our path. It pulls us right back off of our path. It's like, you know, you're going along and this is what you want, this is what you like. It's just like whenever you say things like all people are the same, or this always happens. Those are not factual statements and they're not true. But if we live those truths, if we live those non-facts, if we live those things, we really do convince ourselves that that is the way that things are. So try and uncover those truths in your own self, in your own mind. Find the things that really do matter and that are real. So as we approach this shadow of the moon and of ourselves, try and find places and times to be quiet, to sit in silence and just be with yourself and be with your thoughts. Find that space where you can really reevaluate and realign yourself. Focus and make any amends. Is there any amends that you need to make? Is there anything that you need to process? Is there anything that is undone? Are there things that you need to tie up? So making those amends, I think, really stood out to me, because sometimes we just do things and say things and you know, you walk away from situations and you're like, man, I wish I wouldn't have said that. I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I wouldn't have acted that way. Or, you know, you leave a situation unspoken, like you didn't say something. You know, those amends will keep coming back up. And I feel like the energy of this new moon in Scorpio will really help us draw out those amends that need to be made. And it is time to process. I feel like this year has been very forceful, and we've been pushed in a lot of directions and a lot of things, and we've been made to make decisions, you know, like, how do I feel about this? And you just have to be black and white and move forwards. But that processing piece was almost left out, that we just kept going. We just chose and moved on. And sometimes like we really do need that, like, regurgitate, you know, like to regurgitate and then go over it again, you know? So yeah, it's a great time. It's definitely a great time for processing. And reconcile, along with making amends, that reconciliation. And I think with the energy of the new moon and going inward, I think a lot of this is a lot more about ourselves than it is about other people, is reconciling with ourselves. And I do this with my kids a lot with the making amends. It's like, I shouldn't have acted like that. I shouldn't have said that. Like, we always say and do things that you're like, oh man, like my kid is going to need therapy in the future for this. And then you feel terrible and you apologize and you do the best you can to take it back. But, don't forget to make those amends, even with children in your life and people that you might not think need it. It's not for them, it's for you. So make those reconciliations also. And, in finding yourself, be fierce and really remove any obstacles in your way that you feel like is holding you back. So as you find yourself and you look deep in the shadow side, as you're looking through all of these things, finding yourself, and then be fierce. Refuse to be anything else. Refuse to allow anyone or anything else in your life to take you away from that path, like what you've set out to do, who you want to be. There are no excuses, and we all make them, myself included. It was like, oh, I don't have time. I can't do that. I'm so stressed out. Yeah, I'm not in the right life position. I have children. I don't have children, like whatever it might be. Like, don't use any excuses. Just allow yourself to be fierce and be who you are, be who you're meant to be, and be who you want to be. And remove those roadblocks, the things that we put in our way to make sure that we're not going to be successful, the things that we allow to be there so that we are not going to be who we want to be. Just keep an eye out for those things. Again, just, in this shadow side, like look for those types of things. And we can't make plans on what if and if this happens, then I'll do that. We really can't do that. We're here and now, and the energy of this new moon, all new moons, reminds us that cycle has ended and we've started anew. So we're not playing off of what if this happened. Try and find that direction, that directive in your own mind and really go forwards from there. Here we are, in the same place that we are every single cycle. We always come back to this and we get to choose. We get to choose again. And that's why I really love working with the energy of the full moons and the new moons and the moon cycles in general, is it's never like you missed the boat. That's never, you messed it up. It's never going to be good for you again. It's that constant reminder that everything's on a cycle and it always comes back around. If you missed it the first time, maybe you'll get it the second time. And if not, you don't have to stress about it because it will come back around. If it is meant for you and that's your intention, it will always come back around. Even if it's a lesson that we need to learn, it comes back around too. Like, I'm sure everyone can agree with that. It's like, make the same mistake and you're like, damn it, why am I still making the same mistakes? And then it comes back around and you're like, damn it, I did it again, But we always get the opportunity to change, and we always have the opportunity to start anew. We have never missed out. There is no ending. It's always just a cycle that pours into another cycle. So whenever you've missed it the first time, that cycle will come back around. Watch for surfacing emotions and things that's been needing to be dealt with. And this comes with every moon cycle. Watch out for those things that we have tried to ignore or push down or forget about, because they have a way of bubbling back up to the surface. And it's normally, if we try to ignore it for too long, it's not in a way that we would prefer. It will come out in anger. It will come out in depression, anxiety. They'll just come back up, and they almost come back with a vengeance, like way worse than what it was to begin with. So try and respect yourself, respect your own emotions, respect your own feelings. If you're feeling something, just feel it. And if you feel like it's too much for you, is there someone that you can share this with? That not in a burdensome way where it's like, here's all my problems, try and take care of them for me, but like, just get it out of your head. Sometimes, just getting it out just makes it feel like it's been dealt with. Like, okay, I've processed. Again, with that processing piece, whenever we start processing these emotions, instead of just allowing them to come out however and whenever they do, like when you're super stressed or when you're really sad or when you're really angry, we don't process it, and then it just comes out as like a burst of emotions, numerous, because it's never like, I'm just pissed. Like there's normally like 40 other things that's going on and you're like, I'm really pissed, you know? But it's actually that, you know, you are a little sad, you're a little confused, you're a little, you know, all these different emotions, but they'll all come out at one time. But if we can get that silence, if we can stay in that shadow for a moment and really try to process, what is it I'm feeling? Why am I feeling this? And use that practice of 7 layers of why, or however many times you have to ask, why am I feeling this way? Why is that? Why is that? Like keep whying it down until you get to like, normally it comes down to like something insignificant that you're like, oh, I don't have to feel that way about that. Like and then it becomes a choice, which is way better. Down, keep asking yourself, contemplate. But I warn you, for my own warning, I warn everyone at the same rate as myself, that staying in that processing can get you a little stuck too. So always try and remember, especially with this Scorpion energy that we have right now, to be resourceful and brave and passionate and powerful. So we don't stay in that, because I'm myself being a Taurus anyways, is I'm always deliberating. I'm always thinking and angling and, you know, all these things, and I have to weigh all the pros and cons and all this stuff. So sometimes for me, processing gets almost like the block. It becomes my stumbling block. It becomes the thing that prohibits me from moving forward. So keep an eye on that too. Be human, be emotional, and be free. Allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to that grace that we all deserve. Give that to yourself. Allow yourself to be emotional and allow yourself to feel life. We are very much so feeling oriented spiritual beings. So however you believe, whatever your belief system is, we are a whole entire gamut of emotions, and allow yourself to experience them without bridling them, without trying to be like, that's too much. You know, like especially as children, we're very often told that's too much. You're too loud. You laugh too loud. You know, you're crying too much. Like, and we all do it, even as parents. It's like, you don't need to cry about that. That's not worth crying about. I tell my kids that pretty often, you know, it's like throwing a fit and you're like, that's not worth crying about. So we're stifled, even as children, we're stifled with those statements that people make, and we just don't think about it. But allow yourself to feel life, feel what it feels like in this moment. And a great journaling practice for this new moon is allow yourself to sit and feel. And it doesn't have to be something great or grand or amazing that you're feeling. But even as you're just sitting here, you can just start with the very superficial sensory feelings of like, I feel cold, I feel tired, I feel, you know, like, but then allow yourself to go a little bit deeper, again, like wading into that shadow of ourselves. What are you feeling right now? You know, and it's always very surprising to me, for myself in this practice, as to what comes up. And you're like, why? Why do I feel anxious? Why am I nervous? Like, I'm not even doing anything. But these energies are bouncing around inside of us, and we're not processing them. And it could be a latent energy from a week ago that we never wanted to accept the fact that we got super nervous while driving in crazy Columbus traffic, or, you know, you were almost late for work, or, you know, your kid had to go to the doctors, or whatever it might be. Allow yourself to just feel whatever you're feeling in a moment, without stimulation, without things that are bouncing off of you and encouraging or discouraging an emotion. Just allow yourself to sit and feel life. And remember the non-judgment, the non-duality. Try as hard as you can to not say good or bad, I like or I dislike. Try and really use those descriptive terms of, you know, for example, whenever I had a friend of mine that said, you know, try to eat a piece of chocolate and explain it without using your duality words. So not like it's so good, it's yummy, it's this, but like actually describe what experiencing a piece of chocolate is like. And that really helps you to exercise that non-judgment, because you're not putting your emotional judgment on it. You're actually explaining how it makes you feel and what you're experiencing. So no judgment. Just allow yourself again to feel life and be free. One of the great things that we can practice at this time is loving each other, spreading love, enjoying love, really indulging in the energy of love. As we love ourselves, doing this deep shadow work that we're, trying to process and do all these things, allow yourself to really connect to loving yourself. And this can be really hard for a lot of us, because even as children, we always pick out things that we don't like, especially as we get a little bit older. You start to compare yourself to other people. You start looking around and you're like, oh, I don't really like my hair because I like that girl's hair better. Like, look at these kids. They have everything. I don't have anything. Or, whatever it might be. You just start creating those judgments and comparisons. But allow yourself to move past those things. And really, again, in your journaling even, list reasons why you love yourself, just like you would your significant other or your child or your parent or your grandparent. Why do you love yourself? Give yourself the best compliments. How funny are you? Like you love your eyes, or you love your hair, you love that you're so dependable or punctual or whatever it might be. It can start superficial and go deeper, but really try and spread the love, enjoy the love, and be a part of love right now. Using our creative abilities is a wonderful way to connect into the moon energy always. The new moon energy, again, going within, processing, really being emotional. Try something creative, maybe drawing or painting or, anything that you can create. And it doesn't have to be limited to an art. It really could be anything that you wanted to engineer or just put together, or anything. Like, just allow yourself really to work with your hands if that's a possibility for you, and exercise that ability to create. We all have it within us. It's very, very feminine. Our creative side is very feminine. So try and tap into that and honor that by creating something. Cooking counts, anything that you want. Just focus on creating and looking for that pure love and joy that we can have. It's time for healing in our shadow. So while we're here in this shadow, experiencing our emotions, sitting in silence and being in this space and allowing ourselves to feel and heal is very important. As these things come up, they bubble to the surface, whether they're emotions, situations, things, people, whatever it might be. Allow yourself to heal from that. Ask for healing. Ask the universe. Ask your ancestors. Whatever it feels that you feel deeply connected to. Ask the earth just to rain this energy of healing on you. Allow it to flow to you and flow through you so that you can release these things and let them go and heal the voids that are left in its wake. So a lot of times we deal with these energies, these emotions, these situation, things, and people, and we release them out of our life. We remove them. We remove the roadblocks. But sometimes there are empty spaces, and we need to fill those spaces so we don't feel empty or feel like there's gaps of loneliness or anything like that. So ask for that love, ask for that healing, and know and trust in the universe that it will come to you, and you will heal. You will feel better. You will feel complete with the energy of the moon. What does spiritual healing mean to you? If you could really, for your own self, not necessarily just to you, but what does that mean for you? How can you gain more spiritual healing in your life? For your mental, emotional, and spiritual being, what type of healing do you think that you need? And just allow yourself, again, to sit in this shadow. If something comes up, if it's like, build a lean-to in your backyard and, dig a hole and, build a fire, and that's what you need to do. Like, just allow yourself to connect and and really figure out what it is that you need for your spirit, for your soul. That is what we have in our life, and we have it from the second we're born until we leave this world. So it is the most important healing that we can find, is that emotional, spiritual, soulful healing. So that is all that I have for you today for our new moon experience. I hope that everyone finds a way to celebrate this time. And again, if you don't feel like you get to it this time, I promise you there'll be another new moon and you will be able to really indulge into that energy again. The new moon energy lasts for about 2 weeks. It stretches as we go to the full moon. So in this next 2 weeks, a lot of this energy is going to be with us. And remember that Scorpion energy of being resourceful. We all need that this time of year. Being brave and passionate and powerful. I hope that everyone has a wonderful Saturday afternoon. Keep all these things in mind, and if you do nothing else or take anything else from this talk today, make sure that you journal. Write something down, even if it's just what you're grateful for. And remember, spread the love, enjoy the love, be a part of the love today. I'll see you all next time.